Thank you once again for coming back, dear friends. This is Empowerment Talks with Comfort Control. And our guest for today, we just found out that he was a former internet marketer and equally a former social level marketer. I think we'll give him time to let us know what all that is about. And meanwhile, the most important of all, he is one of our finest leadership council members. And he is happy to share with us his life experience. This is Empowerment Point. We listen to what people have gone through, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the sweet, the bitter, and we learn and we get empowered. So I want to use this opportunity to say I'm so excited and happy. Thank you, Paul, for joining us today on Empowerment Talks.
No, it's my pleasure, Comfort. I really thank you for inviting me. I love these sort of things because it gives you a chance to sort of get to know people a bit more. And, we get to know each other's story and things like that, because a lot of people just see certain people and they just think, oh, they've got it so easy and, they just look successful and things like that. And they don't realize it's taken 40 years to become an overnight success, if that's what some people think I am. But it's not that case. You go through sort of a lot of trials and tribulations, and as an internet marketer now, I've still got a job at the moment, but as an internet marketer in my spare time, it's interesting to see with people joining On Passive or looking at On Passive now. It's a little bit like me going back to 1980 when I started sort of the home-based business, getting into the home-based business. Because prior to that, I'd always had a job and I was always averaging around £10,000 a year. It doesn't sound like a lot of money, it wasn't. And it wasn't back then either, And at that time, I think it was 1980, I was a London Transport bus driver, working out of a little garage called Fulwell near Twickenham in Middlesex. And, every kind of job I'd gone for was pretty much pigeonholed in that same sort of income bracket. And I think we all get trapped into that. We sort of pigeonhole ourselves and say, well, this is what I've earned. If they go for a new job, I say, well, how much do you earn on your job? Well, 23,000. Well, right. This pays 22 and a half. Well, okay, that'll do. And we sort of settle for these sort of things. We never sort of say, well, I want to go for 35,000. I want to go for 40,000. And I got introduced into network marketing. My first exposure was Amway, in the Amway Corporation, and it was a big convention in Wembley. It was brilliant. And I met the owners, Rich Voss and Jay Van Andel. But I met a lot of people who were just like me. They had jobs and they wanted something part-time. I didn't know what this thing was called, network marketing or MLM. And when I understood it a bit more, I thought, well, it's just a simpler way of moving products and services through lots of people doing something very part-time. So it didn't interfere with our jobs. And I made some good money with that. And I went from that into Herbalife. And then I saw some people in Herbalife making a month what I was always making a year. And I thought, and then the more I got to learn and meet these people, I realized there wasn't much difference between them and me except time. They weren't any cleverer than me. They didn't have any, they didn't invest any more money than me at the time. We all started at the same sort of time. A little bit like we are now with On Passive. We all start for $97 and we will all buy the product when it comes for around $250. So we were all equal, The only thing was we did need a few skills. So we had to sort of learn how to recruit, how to sell, and we had to learn what people wanted really. And that was the secret. I was fortunate in the Herbalife time that my mentor was a fantastic man called Jim Rohn. Unfortunately, Jim has passed away now, but I spent a bit of time. I spent quite a bit of personal time with Jim Rohn, and it does change your thinking. And I remember him saying to me, success isn't doing extraordinary things, but doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. And he said, that includes you. Just find out what other people do and do it better. And I thought, actually, I wasn't very good at school. I didn't like school, didn't go very often. And yet the weird thing was when I left school and got into sort of the home-based business and network marketing at the time, I found myself on stage and doing things. Next minute, I was doing training events and it went on to that. And I'd been doing it for like 25, 30 years after that and had generally had a really good time. But like Marty DeGarmo says, I was earning some money and building teams, but there wasn't many people that I brought with me doing the same sort of thing. And we generally said to people, come with us, we can help you. We generally wanted to help them. I remember someone saying to me, the trouble with you, Paul, is you want their success more than they do. And I probably did, because I could see them struggling and I was previously struggling. And I thought, if you just do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, you know, it'll work for you like it works for me. And the reality is not everyone has those skills. They don't have the skills to go and recruit because it's alien to them, because we all have jobs. Now, in the job world, the only person that recruits is our boss. He recruits us. So what do we know anything about recruiting, unless you're in recruitment, and then you know about it. But if you've got an ordinary job, like I have at the moment, I've got a driving job. What would a driver know about recruitment? So it was a little bit alien to get that going. But when people realised that you could make money working from home part-time by sharing a good idea, and as Jim Rohn says, if you share a good idea often enough, it falls on good people. And I use that little phrase on my business card. So in my back pocket, I've always got these cards.
Okay.
And it says,
if you share a good idea often enough, it will eventually fall on good people. All right.
Yeah, and that's it. And he said, keep it simple. On the back of it, I've got an information pitch on the back. It doesn't say what it's about. It just says I've got a very simple home-based business, you know, that will help you live the lifestyle you want on a part-time basis. And so I followed on through that. But say I've had a good time and bad time and some bad times, because sometimes I think the 80s and the 90s were great in that kind of industry, in that field. You can trust the owners. But from sort of the mid to late 90s, 2000s, we found that the people were coming up with these new companies, but they weren't that honest. I mean, they wanted to make a quick buck, and they got you to buy everything and do everything. The next minute they would disappear, and this was happening more and more and more. So what I found was, you know, all the friends and people that would work with me in the past, they were less likely to come and join me, because they'd seen me fail a few times, and they failed a few times. And so the trust element was starting to disappear a little bit. You know, and even now that probably it's quite a surprise to some people that they know that I'm waiting for On Passive to start. I joined On Passive 23rd of December 2019. So to some people, I've been in a long time, but it's gone really quick. It's not a long time, really. And I've seen huge developments in the company and what Ash is doing. And as you say, I've been in the Leadership Council now twice. They actually asked me back, which was lovely. You don't normally get asked back. And that was really nice, you know. And I've seen some good changes. And people say, do you trust Ash? I said, yes, I do, you know. And people out in the outside world that know me, for the last 2 or 3 years, they've been expecting me to go back into network marketing, or go into cryptocurrency, or go into Bitcoin or something like that. And I haven't. And they go, why don't you do that? I said, to be honest, I don't trust it. And they go, really? I said, no, not these days. I don't trust it. And I said, because also that means I've got to put all my energies into something, build a team again of people who don't know how to build a team, who don't know how to sell. And I might make a little bit of money, and then someone somewhere is going to get let down. They go, oh, right, you know. And I said, that's just my own personal viewpoint. And I said, do you know what works better for me? And they go, what? I said, a job. And they go, really? I said, I don't like jobs. I've never liked jobs. I've always worked for myself. I said, but at the end of the day, for the last 5 years, I said, I've normally got. It's gone. The picture's gone off. Can you still see and hear me?
Yeah, I can see and hear you. I don't know what's happening, but yeah, I can hear you really well.
Okay. So for the last sort of, for 5 years, I've been in the job market, and I actually, for the first time in my life, in June, I actually got made redundant, which was really weird. I've never been made redundant, and that was strange, because I was driving for a company and I was in my vehicle 95% of my day, so I was busy. Now I can understand being made redundant if you're not busy, but when you're busy, how can they make you redundant? That doesn't make any sense. So I thought, well, with my little bit of redundancy money, we used to have a classic vehicle garage a few years ago. We used to have a nice showroom, and we sold classic and vintage vehicles. Well, I knew I wouldn't have the money to do that, but I thought, well, I've still got my motor trade policy insurance, so therefore let's make good use of that. Because one thing Jim Rohn always taught me is, when things happen to you and all of a sudden it's going really well and then it isn't, sometimes he said it's worth looking around you to see what you've got in the way of assets, what you've got in the way of tools that you can use. Don't go looking for new ones, just go looking for what you've got. And I thought, well, I've got this motor trade policy. I can go and buy a little car, 1 or 2 cars. And it's true to say that we always remember our first car that we purchased. It's always important. So I thought, I'm going to go and buy a nice little clean first cars for somebody that's just passed their test. And I went out and bought one of those little smart cars and things like that. And I ended up with one or two.
Was that, I actually saw the video. Was that your first car?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's the first car that I wanted to get and sell. So, and then my brother said to me, look, I've got my little sports car, my little Mazda, I'm buying another one. Will you sell that for me? I said, yeah, I'll do that. And then my friend who used to buy classic cars from me, and I used to sell classic cars for him sometimes, he said to me, I've got a little classic car. Will you sell it for me? You were always very good and you were very fair with me. I said, well, tell me what you want back. I'll put my profit on top of that. So if I have to negotiate, it's my negotiation that's going down, not yours, And he said, well, I've always liked that. And the classic car was actually the first one I sold. It went up to Scotland. Then I sold my brother's car. But for some reason, I've still got the little smart car. But I thought, if it doesn't sell straight away, it doesn't matter. I can use it, run around. Right. Someone's going to buy that. And when they do, they'll be happy with it. But I then quickly realized that that wasn't actually working as quick as I thought it was going to. I rented a little garage. I can put 2 cars in this little garage because garages are not easy to get these days. And I've got this little garage through a local landlord. But I quickly realized that, when the money isn't coming in straight away, weeks go by really quick. And I remember doing seminars in the past, and I remember saying to people, if you lost your job this week, how many weeks could you last? And they looked at me a bit strange. I said, yes. I didn't say how many months could you last. I said, how many weeks can you last? They go, oh. I said, because we all live to the income that we're earning. So even if you've got your own business and it changes, like with COVID, you live to that income. And if you've got a job, you live to that income. So if that job disappears, you're still trying to live to the income without the money. So I thought, well, the garage isn't going as quick as possible. I better go and get another job. But I've always tried to do things that suit me. So Neil Parkinson in our leadership team, he always makes a great joke and says, Paul's been working at the bakery today. So there's a local bakery literally 3 minutes away. Yeah. And they were looking for early morning drivers to deliver to the shops before they open. And I thought, well, that suits me because I'm like today, I was finished by 9:15 this morning. Right. I've got all day and all evening to myself to work on other projects and things. So Neil always makes a good joke of that and says, Paul says it's the best job since sliced bread, and stuff like that. And I said, Neil, I'm on a roll. Right. But at the moment, that serves its purpose and it pays the bills and I can trust it. So exactly. It may not be what I want to do. So this is my advice to people. People say, well, what do you think we should do while we're waiting for On Passive to launch?
Exactly.
I said, my view of what I think you should do might be different to your view. And they go, what do you mean? I said, well, most people are going to go and just jump into a network marketing business or jump into cryptocurrency or jump into Bitcoin. And then I said, but they're always investing. They've got to keep coming up with more money. I said, where does the more money come from, by the way? They go, oh. I said, so my view is go and get yourself a job for now. There's no dignity in poverty. And as Ash Mafara says, it's clean money. It's one thing, it's clean money. Right. Said, but me, this early morning thing was great because the hours certainly suit me. I mean, I did 4 hours work today and I get 6 hours worth of pay for it, which is good. And I can come home and do what I need. And for me personally, I can go and buy and sell cars and people can do that. And again, you're in control of it because you bought that asset. And even if someone bought a cheapy car, or what I call a cheapy car, say 600, well, you can make 300 on that. Well, that's good margins,
Right, sure.
Say, well, what if you got one car for 600 and you made 300? Well, now you've got 900. Well, if you spent 900 on a car, what could you make? Well, you could probably make 500 to 600 now. Wow. I've actually got a friend of mine, a friend I know in Peterborough called Mark. I used to work with Mark years ago. I used to buy cars from Mark. He had a bigger garage than me at the time. And Mark is now a millionaire buying and selling cars. It wouldn't be everyone's cup of tea. I like it part-time. But Mark said to me once, it isn't hard, to be a millionaire in the car business. I said, really? He said, well, think about it. He said, if you spent £10 online on a product, could you make money with it? I said, yes. He said, if you spent £100, could you make money? I said, yeah. He said, so if you spent £1,000, could you make money with that? I said, yeah, sure. And he said, well, if you bought a cheapy car, so if you made £300 or £400 back on the car, that would be quite good. I said, yeah. He said, well, if I spend 5,000 on a car, I can make 1,000. I said, yeah, I was doing that when I had classic cars. He said, well, if I sell 1,000 cars, I'm a millionaire. And he broke it down into, I thought, wow, that's not that many. He said, over the years, it's not that many. He said, but I can trust it. And I think that's very important these days. You can trust it. So at the moment, I'm doing something that's out of my comfort zone. I don't particularly want a job. I don't particularly like jobs. But it serves a purpose, and it stabilizes. It stabilizes you.
All right.
While we're waiting for OnPassive to launch. Now, when OnPassive does launch, we won't need any of those at all. It's really nice. So, I won't have to get out of bed at 3:30 in the morning.
No, and you can finally sleep while money works for you. Yeah. Right, so that said, you said there's something you said that it's really I found it really good. You said success isn't doing anything extraordinarily. It's just like doing ordinary
things extraordinarily well.
Ordinary way. So that's very important.
That's it. And that applies to your job, how you deal with people, how you respond to people, things like that, because we could all do exactly the same thing, but if you just do it a little bit better. On the bottom of my letterheads, when I had my training business, on the bottom of my letterheads, it used to say, what was it? There was a little thing on the bottom of there. Attitude. That's it. Attitude isn't. It wasn't attitude, was it? I'm going to think of it in a minute. I just lost it. It's about being bothered.
Right.
It's gone. It's gone. I know it's normally on the tip of my tongue, but I'll think about it and I'll get it back in a bit. But there's a little saying used to be on the bottom of my letterheads, and people used to comment about it. Custom. That's what it was. Customer service. On the bottom in bold, it says, customer service is not a department, it's an attitude. Be bothered. And most people can't be bothered. And I've often said to people, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. And it's free. It's free.
Right.
And when you smile at someone or you're nice to somebody, isn't it funny how they're nice back? And
when it feels good too. Doing that to someone, it feels really good.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, even down to driving, some people drive and they're so stressed. And I think, well, no, when you're driving, here's a way that you can actually enjoy your driving. But look, when I was a bus driver, they teach you to look ahead. I said, so look ahead in life. See what's happening ahead. If you see someone wants to pull up, flash your lights, wave in, let them in.
Yeah. Okay, I think I'm stopping you here. This takes us to a question that I have here. You say you learned when you were doing your bus driving that you look ahead. So like an advice to look ahead, look into the future, right?
Yeah.
So there's this caption of a video of yours I watched. You say, let me show you the future. So what future do you see? Do you think that you have with OnPassive? What does the future hold?
Well, it's the difference I see once we launch within 6 to 12 months. I think we're going to see the difference in our spending, how we spend money, and the difference in how we buy things because of the way that OnPassive is structured, which is unlike in no other company. So on that video, it's a few months old, that video, but I know the one you mean. It's like I think what Ash wants to do is to help all these businesses that have struggled in the pandemic. So my view was, well, look at the estate agents or real estate, as they call them in America. We call them estate agents here. Look at the estate agents. Look at all the car dealerships. Look at all them sort of businesses or shops and stores. They haven't had visitors because they've been closed for a long time, and they're only just starting to open again. Now they've got to do what they used to do in the old days to get customers back. They've got to heavily advertise. They haven't got the money to heavily advertise. That's the only way to get bulk customers back in. What's the other way? The other way is becoming an OnPassive founder, stroke customer. And then OnPassive will then drive traffic to that targeted business. And it could be near to where I live. It could be an estate agent in Oakham, for instance. Now, because they're getting targeted traffic, a lot more people are looking at that person's website. So they're going to be getting a lot more business. So if I was interested in buying a house from that estate agent, I would say, by the way, I really like this house and I want to buy it. Are you an OnPassive founder or a reseller? And they go, no, why? I said, because that's the way I'd like to pay. Well, what do you mean? Well, if you're an OnPassive customer stroke reseller, you would have what I've got, which is an e-wallet, which is somewhere to store your money. I can pay you directly from my e-wallet to your e-wallet. I bought myself a house. And they go, oh, imagine going into a car dealer and saying, I'd like that Mercedes. Would you like finance, sir? No. We won't need finance, you know. I can pay from my wallet to your wallet. And they go, what do you mean? And you explain how OnPassive works. Well, that's going to draw in a lot more business. Oh, by the way, we've got something like 1.6 million founders in the business at that time, for instance. And most of us have got disposable income. We've got money to spend. So you might sell washing machines, you might sell fridge freezers. Where are you going to go and buy that? Now, we're going to have something which is going to be much better in our view as a social media than Facebook. So I actually buy my cars from Facebook. I buy them from Marketplace and I sell them on Marketplace, which is crazy. And people say, don't people recognize the same car? I said, no, not when I finished with it.
No, nobody cares. Yeah.
No, because when I get that car, the car is dull. As Jim Rohn says, by the time I finish with that car is gleaming. So it looks a different car. So we will have our own marketplace within OnPassive. So if you need a wardrobe, if you need a fridge freezer, washing machine, dishwasher, car, flight tickets, a holiday, where would you go? You wouldn't go onto Google and you wouldn't Google search it like we have done. You would go into the OnPassive marketplace first because you know they're actually an OnPassive member. So you're going to get good service for one and probably a better price. And two, you can pay from your wallet to their wallet. So our buying purchase has changed. We don't pay the stocks anymore. We pay our marketplace. And the financial side of it, I mean, that's actually going to be really good because it's not going to cost me anything to send money to you like it would. I sent a small amount of money to somebody in Dublin about a week and a half ago. I'm talking £40, that's all. And my bank charged me 28 euros, about 23 pounds, to send 40. Isn't that ridiculous?
That's sad. Yes.
I only sent £40 and they sent me so to send someone £40 cost me 62. You know, which is crazy. So with that sort of connection that we have with our wallets, it's going to make a huge difference. But look at how many businesses it could save. We don't want these people to go out of business. So they're not in competition with us at all, but they're an asset to us because we're going to look for more products and services that you would buy. I also mentioned on that video about nursing homes, and people say, well, why would a nursing home want OnPassive? You know, most of them are not very tech savvy anyway. I said, hang on a second. They don't all want to sit around in a high back chair watching television. They want to talk to their family around the world. Well, at the moment, they're doing it through Facebook or Zoom. So we don't have to teach anybody how to do a video call. They know. I said, but imagine if we've got OnPassive's video conferencing system and it's in that nursing home and they're getting paid to use it. And I said, you know, I haven't put anyone in a nursing home or paid for someone to go in a nursing home, but I believe it's very, very expensive. Now, I think it's really sad that someone has to put their house up for sale to pay for their nursing home. They've paid all their lives for an asset to leave that inheritance to their children. But these days, you can't do that because you've got to pay for your nursing home. Imagine if you say, well, by being an OnPassive founder for $97, £74, and £200, $250 one time, that can actually pay for the nursing home. So this business will appeal for people 18 years of age to 95. I mean, my sponsor, Dennis Owens, lives not far from me. He lives in the county of Rutland too. Dennis is 89 years old. Dennis is out shopping. Dennis is window shopping at the moment, and he's seen what he wants. It's called a longboat, and it's 60 foot longest boat, 13.5 foot wide, and it costs over £200,000. And Dennis is going to have one. And Dennis is actually looking forward to the next 10 years in OnPassive. So some people just have a good vision, don't they? They just have a good vision. Right. And that's going to be the future. Is we're going to shop differently amongst ourselves.
Right. And that feels good. You know, all of these things put together, your lifespan increases, your life quality increases, and at least we live better, right? So thank you so much for sharing. So one of the things, like you said, you are a unique person, not just like any other person who comes to this platform. You say your own things in your own way so differently, you look at things differently. So so I just want us to like reflect on this. Within the last 1 week, I have heard at least two of our great council, leadership council leaders allude to JF Kennedy saying that ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Right now, I believe that you and I and the rest of the 850 of us who are founders of OnPassive, we can say it really loud that we are a newfound family and a new nation, OnPassive nation, right? So we are a country of ours. So what would our country, Mother OnPassive, want us do for her? You know, what do
Absolutely.
yeah?
Yeah, I think never before. I mean, I've been with a lot of companies over the years. And as I said, I've had a good time and I've met some nice people. And a lot of people have asked me, what do you think the difference is now versus then? I said, well, then you joined a company and you were hoping to join a good team. You were hoping that your sponsor was attached to a good team and his leader was a real leader and his leader was a mega leader, starship commander, you know, and you were going to be in a good bubble. And sometimes people went into an organization and they weren't in a very good supportive bubble, you know, and they didn't do very well because they didn't get any training and help and guidance, really. So the difference is so vast with OnPassive, because it doesn't matter that I didn't sponsor you, you know, you may well be in my business, I don't know, but it doesn't matter that we don't have that personal sponsorship. I had a video call the other night at 9:30 with a lady that's not in my group in New Zealand, and she was having a little bit of a trouble. And we've known each other a long time. She was having trouble trying to create a new password for her thing, for her account. And she said, could I just send it to you and would you try it? Because I've tried it and it doesn't work. And I said, send it to me. Within 3 minutes, I got it done and it was back. But I also added her photograph in the profile because I had it and she hadn't done that. She went, oh, I look really good. I said, yeah, of course you look good, you know. But the thing is, when people look at your website or whatever, and you show someone, there you are. And other things I try and get people to do is to really value yourself. You know, some people don't value themselves. They think they're here and someone else is here. And I said, that's not great, you know. Right. And there's some people have sort of said, you know, how have you got all your friends? You've got a lot of friends signed up, which I have. And they said, how did you get them? Because I can't get any of mine. And I said, well, it wasn't easy for me either, because I'd lost a few times in previous companies and they disappeared. The last one was a big hit. It owed me over £200,000. And I went from hero to zero very quickly. And I lost everything, you know, and it was a terrible time. I wouldn't want to live it again. And I just sort of said, you know, I'm never going to let that happen to me again. But you've just got to, you know, put yourself somewhere where you value yourself. I said, I'd sent a video out to people talking from the heart, as if I'm just talking to you now, saying, like, I know you haven't joined me yet. I don't need to make money from you. But I don't need you in the business. I really want you in the business, because you and I have had some good times in the past and we've made some money. We've lost some too. Wouldn't it be nice if you and I finished on a high? That's it. Wouldn't it be good if we could just say, well, we've had some good times and we learned what we've learned, and this time we've won, haven't we? Yeah. And I said, that's all I asked. I said, when people realize that you don't need them, they suddenly realize they need you. They do need you, because the reality is there's nothing out there. I don't see anything out there that would say to me, let me get 200, 300, 500 pounds out of my bank. Let's have a go. I just honestly don't see it. And I've studied lots of marketing plans. I've been a director of my own network marketing company in the past. And I'm just thinking, as much as I like networking, I'm so pleased that OnPassive is not a network marketing business. It's a bricks and mortar IT business driven by artificial intelligence, because I think we needed change. We needed something different, and we need something to trust and someone to trust. And I certainly do trust Ash and Farah. We've had conversations on video like this, and it's really weird. And I thought, Ash said to me, oh, I like your videos. You're out walking in the woods doing your videos. I thought, what? You watch my videos? You know, and they think, yeah, they're great.
No, he's just amazing, right? So he has commented on my videos twice. I'm like, hey, what is this?
Yeah. And he remembers people, and he remembers lots of people, you know. But I do think the people that have come on board with Papua New Guinea, they've touched his heart more than anything. So and I think Michael Williams said it a few videos ago, about 4 or 5 months ago, and I thought, oh, you couldn't have put that better. Michael Williams said, Ashmi Farah is taking us along for the ride. He doesn't have to do this. He doesn't need to do this.
Right,
He could have
exactly.
really got 10 biggest, he could have got 10 investors from Wall Street and said, I'm going to make you billionaires. And he would have done. But instead, he's happy to share with 854,000. Isn't that crazy?
It is.
So we're in a good place, and sometimes it gets fidgety waiting to get started. But and some people say to me, but I wouldn't use all the products, Paul. I said, okay. And I'm trying to get a mental picture, because when someone says to me, I wouldn't use all the products, they're waiting for me to convince them. And I don't like convincing people. So I said, okay, do you drive a car? And they go, yeah. I said, okay, have you got air conditioning in your car? Yeah, I've got that. Do you use it? No, I don't like air conditioning. Okay. Have you got cruise control? Yeah, I've got cruise control. Do you ever use it?
Yeah.
I don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
So I was, okay, there's just 2 products, but you drive a car. So you have a car and it's got all these things that work, but you don't use them all. They go, no, I don't want to use them. I said, that's how it's going to be with On Passive. We're going to have 100, 150 products. You might use 52. It's okay. You use what you like.
You know what? One thing is, like, you just said something that got me giggling, because when we look at Ash offering this opportunity, because I always ask myself, who am I to be part of this, right? If not because of somebody's good heart, who am I to be here, right? So that is what makes people think 850 and counting and sharing this, that's crazy, and they end up with the conclude like it's too good to be true. However, you made a video which you were trying to advise us on how to package our messages, and maybe the most enticing way of presenting On Passive truth to our prospects. So can you share that again here for people?
Yes, I remember that was something that Jim Rohn taught me. Package the truth in the most powerful manner. And I remember years ago, I was involved in a fragrance company. It was like Party Plan. And I had this policewoman in my business part-time. And she was making, Debbie, she lived in Oxford, and she was making about £800 a month. And she was finding it a challenge to introduce people that she knew into the business, because she said, I'm only making 800 a month. And I said, what do you mean you're only making 800 a month? And she said, well, that's all I'm making. I'm doing a few parties and I'm making 800. I said, you haven't packaged that properly. And I said, people don't know what you do, what you do. So I said, let's just do a little role play here between you and I. We were in a kitchen actually in Oxford. And I said, okay, let's do a little role play as if we were on camp. And I said, your name is Debbie and you live in Oxford. I said, all the time you're saying what you're saying, someone is saying, I know a Debbie. I know, and Steve lives in Oxford. I said, and tell them I'm a police officer. I've been a police officer for 8 years. Well, then, oh, I know a police officer. What? A police officer is looking for something part-time. Why? Because they don't earn fantastic money. They're undervalued. I'm a police officer. I came across this. I like the look of it. I love fragrances anyway. So, I love fragrances. And then I thought I could do this. And I showed it to a few family and friends, shared the idea. She didn't sell anything. She shared the idea. They offered to do it, have a few parties. I hosted a few parties, and she said, and I average £800 a month. I said, that's great, Debbie, but you left one thing out. She said, what's that? I said, you left out the word part-time. She went, oh. I said, now, some people are earning, this is going back a few years. I said, some people are earning £800 a month full-time for 40 to 50 hours a week. I said, how many hours did you spend on this? She said, I do 2 hours a week. I said, so you did 2 hours a week for £800 part-time? I said, wow. I said, now you've got everyone's attention. You've got attention. And I remember when we lived in Spain, we lived in Torrevieja in Spain, and I was working for myself, doing networking at the time. And there was this guy who said, he was from the Midlands actually, but he said, he didn't say he was on holiday. He said, I'm on vacation, one of those. I had my 2 weeks vacation because of my important job, and they let me have this time off. I said, okay. I said, what do you do then? He said, well, I've got a high powered job. He wouldn't say what he did. So I said to him, how many days a year do you get vacation, time off for you? He said, because of my position, I get 26 days a year. I said, do you really? That's great. He said, yes, it is. And very quickly, I just said, do you know I get more than that a month? And he said, sorry? And my friend said, do you know, you do. Because what I was doing at the time, it was compounded. I spent maybe 12 minutes a day. I would go into my website, look at what I've earned the day before. I would withdraw 50% and I would reinvest 50%. 12 minutes, I was done. And I said, you know, I could probably get that down to single figures. Now, when you look at what we're going to be doing with on passive, the reality is packaging our story. What do you do for a living? Well, actually, I'm a founder with a company that you've probably heard of because it's on the television, it's on everywhere, called On Passive. Oh, yeah, my daughter uses it. She uses the learning thing. And oh, actually, our company uses the HR thing of yours. Oh, yes, okay. Well, you know, I got involved as a founder. And because I'm a founder, the company does everything for us. And I now get more days off in a month than I used to get in a year. I'm just having a great time. And you haven't got to say any more than that because they're going to want to join you. Imagine having more days off in a month than you normally have in a year because you have to book your holiday, ask for time, fit it around someone else. So that's really is packaging your story in the most powerful manner. But people leave out the word part-time. And Jim always said, no matter how much you earn, never go full-time. He said, your part-time story is so powerful. And they go, you look like you're having a great time. You've got these cars, you're away all the time. What do you do? And Jim says, it's my little part-time business. What, your little part-time business? Then I thought, yeah, and I got it. I understood what he meant about packaging the truth. You're not telling any lies, you're packaging the truth in the most powerful manner. But people don't do their testimonial. I said, well, the thing is, do your name, where you live, what you do for a living, how long you've done it, and do you like it? You might like it, you might not like it. Why you were looking for something else in the first place? What is it's made you look for an additional income? You know, because most people have too much month at the end of the money. There isn't really enough money coming in, so they do need the extra income. They live on their credit cards, and it's like, okay, what would you like from it? And I try and find out what people want from their business. And then every now and again, when they get a little bit deflated, like we all do, I remind them of that boat, of that house, of that car, of that vacation, whatever it is, their kids going to college. Don't forget, you're paying for your kid to go to college. I'm going to buy my daughters a house each. You know, I just want to get them a house. And I don't really want the money now. I just want the things money buys so I can give it away. And I've got a few founder positions, but I bought one specifically, which is attached to an email that I've got. It's called paulspayitforward@gmail.com. So that position is purely to donate to different charities. And I've just found another one up the road that one of the drivers was telling me about, and it's a falconry centre that's got owls and wild birds, and they're dreadfully underfunded. He said, but all the kids go there, and the kids love it because they've never seen anything like that. And I thought, oh, he said, but they can't get enough money in. I'm immediately thinking, well, I could, once that position activates, I could help that local business. You know? And I think we're all going to be doing something like that. So it's powerful stuff.
That's powerful. Thank you so much for sharing, Paul. That's really important. You know, we always like people to share their own plans, what we think, how you want to give back to community, because because I always believe personally that Ash actually shared this because of the communities that are looking up to us. So when we share these ideas, others learn from this. That sounds good. I think one can do that too. So I really do appreciate that. So, you know, yesterday when Ash just joined us in the session, the extraordinary session of yesterday, there was this opening statement of his that I found really very powerful, and I thought that maybe you kind of add your comment on it. Let's see, because he said I just read it somewhere. Yeah, we planted the seed of success in such a way that we are unbreakable. So what does he mean by that?
Right. He planted the seed. I've actually got a caption in the UK and Ireland group. You probably see most of the leaders all the time on there, but there's one you don't see that often, and that's a guy called Chris Vaughan. who's one of our partners. Now, Chris is really good at graphics, and if you look on Facebook and you see any post from Chris Vaughan, he's our quiet. He's my quiet hero. I think he's great. And I got Chris to make me up a caption. And if I send you it, I'll send you it once we finish this call, so you can have a look at it. But there's something in my mind. I heard from somebody else, and I wanted to perfect that. And it's a picture of, it's a UK and Ireland logo, but to the right of it is a tree, and there's a man built in the tree. And my view is, every time we introduce a new person to OnPassive, what we're really doing is planting a tree on the internet. If you picture that image, we are planting trees on the internet. What happens with trees? They grow. So for $97, what does that really pay for? That pays for the roots. Now, you can't really see much in the way of roots. You don't see anything, do you? But those roots are the strongest thing of a tree. They are that's what holds the thing up. But within a little bit of time, if that tree gets fed with water and sunshine, which is going to come from Mr. Mufara and his team in the way of traffic, that tree will start to sprout. And all of a sudden you see a few buds, and then the leaves start coming out and they get stronger, and then branches come out. Now, the branches are all the customers that become our business. So unlike everything we've done before, where we've had to rely on team leaders and big groups to get a royalty override check, we don't need that anymore, because for the first time ever, we're actually going to get paid from consumers. We've never done that before. So all those leaves and branches are consumers. So that's why Chris designed me this fabulous tree. And you can see there's a man in the middle of the tree. And that's what I think we're doing. We're planting, like Ash said, there's so many, it's 850 odd thousand now, which is going to go well over 1 million over the next few weeks, I'm sure. But if there's something that big, you can't break it. And it's a little bit like bamboo sticks. If you get one bamboo stick, you can bend it. Try doing that with 20 bamboo sticks. You can't bend it.
Exactly.
The same with a freight train. If you get a freight train and the freight train is doing 40 miles an hour and you've got a 5-foot wall at the end of the track, it can go through the wall. Now, if the freight train is stopped and you put a 3-inch piece of wood in front of its wheels, it can't go anywhere. How is that possible? It's a 3-inch piece of wood, but it's stopping the start. But at 40 miles an hour, when it's got momentum, it can go through a 5-foot wall. So what we've got in OnPassive, we've got 855,000 people, which is the momentum. And you can't stop momentum like that.
Right.
I hope that makes sense.
I think I like you say a lot of things, but I normally go for one and stick to it, right? I just like the analogy of the tree and the roots and so on. It brings me back to something that Jeffrey Mulville says here a couple of days ago. He says at the beginning we had just an acorn, and now we've got an acorn tree. So put that together, the roots and the tree and everything grows up, and that's what we've got. That's how big we are getting, and we scale up every other minute, right? So
it's the same as an orange, isn't it? If you get an orange, if you get a seed from an orange and you plant the seed, you don't get one orange, you get lots of oranges, don't you?
I know. You got me right back home, because back home we live with oranges, all of us, so I know exactly what that is now. So it's really good.
But sometimes sometimes I think to get the conversation going, because a lot of people say, well, I had a conversation with a guy last week. He said, I haven't got anyone in my business at all. And I said, okay, have you spoke to your friends? He said, but not really. I'm not quite sure what to say. So I said, all you really need to do is to find an icebreaker that suits you. Because if you went to a party, you were invited to as a party, 4 people at the party, but there are 60 people at the party. You don't know them. You feel a bit strange when you go in, but you just want a little bit of an icebreaker. Excuse me. Well, being in business is a bit like that. So this card is an icebreaker. The other icebreaker I still use, and I've used this since 1996 when I was working with a lady called Hazel Hayes, and she was very theatrical, Hazel. She was really funny. We used to, she followed, again, we weren't in each other's business, but she followed me around the UK when I was doing presentations on stage, because she used to bring all her guests, because she knew I'd do all the work. But it was good. Well, I didn't mind that at all, because I knew Hazel, and when I got Hazel up to tell her story, that got all the people in that I wanted to get in. So we helped each other, because Hazel had a fabulous little phrase, and she said, when people, I just asked people, say, what do you do? And people love to talk about themselves and say, well, I'm a dentist, I'm this, I'm a driver. And I said, okay, do you like it? Yeah, is that good? Yeah. And she said, when they finish telling you what they do, what do? They say, what do you do? So if she said, if I said I was in marketing or sales, they'd run a mile. So she said, I don't do that. I just say, I'm in show business, darling. And I meant, oh, right. And she said, yes, I show people my business.
Right.
I said, oh, really? That's what she did. And I thought,
right.
I don't know how she thought that up, but there's myself, there's a few other people, someone in Australia has used that phrase they heard me say it, and they actually signed their friend up. I said, that's really clever. They all had a laugh over it. She said, I'm in show business. Really? Doing what? She said, I show people my business. And isn't that what we do? I mean, we don't need to convince you. We just want to show you, and you're an intelligent person,
and let you decide.
You'll make your own mind up. And I also do this. I have a habit of doing this. I nod, and if you talk to someone about something, you say, well, does that make sense? They go, yeah. And I'm nodding and they're nodding. So by the time we've had the conversation and they're nodding and I'm nodding, I said, does that make sense? Well, yes. Well, it wouldn't make sense not to join them, would it? Well, no. There's a money back guarantee. There's all these people that have joined. All the things that we're going to do and offer seem to make sense to you. And we're going to be able to help thousands of people around the world without them knowing that we're actually helping them. I think that's going to be the biggest buzz. If you can donate some money or you can fix something or buy something for someone and they don't even know that you did it, isn't that a bigger buzz? They don't need to know where it come from. They just need to know that someone's given them a hand up, not a handout. And they will do the same. They will do the same, I'm sure.
Right. Okay. Yeah, there's something you said that when we launch, we will all become customers on day one, right? Yeah. I know that you would have said this over and over, but I don't mind if you can explain this again, because I think it's of interest to many people. Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I'm going to refer it to like other companies in the past. When people join other companies, for them to be active in that business, they need to either subscribe or buy the product to use for themselves. So our company is no different, really. We need to, and the strongest companies out there are product-driven companies, aren't they? Everything that really works out there is like Apple and things like that. People are buying products and services off them. So I like the way that Ash has done this. He's helped us to become a founder, which is incredible because that's where the largest amount of money is. But he also said, well, we also all need to use products to be a customer of the customer. So I don't think there's ever been a company out there that's going to have over 850, 900,000 customers on launch there. So it makes the company very secure, but it gives people an instant income, because some people join a business or go into something and it could be 5, 6, 7 months before they see any kind of income. I think even back in the old days of Amway, my first commission check was £7. And it took me a while to get that, £7, but with this, it's going to be instant and it's going to be daily. And when you realize that when you get up in the morning, people are not going to just look at their phones like they do now look at what's happened on Facebook. They're going to get up, have their breakfast, open the laptop and see how much they've earned overnight. And it's going to be quite nice. So, but that's because it's customer driven, and say, well, actually, we're going to get, I equate it to, it's like getting paid for eating. It's ridiculous because there are going to be people all around the world that want to use all different kinds of products and services because they want something better. Every year or 2 years, we upgrade our mobile phone. When we feel the car's getting a little bit old, we start justifying why we want to get rid of it. Oh, I've seen a bit of rust. It's making noises. Mileage is too high. The week before that, the car was perfectly good, wasn't it? But all of a sudden, when it's in your mind that you think, I want a new car, you get a buzz out of getting something new, you want to replace it. And I think people are just like that. They're going to want a better video system. They're going to want a better email system. They're going to want a better marketplace, But what they're really going to want is to not have to go to work ever again. Because, and some people say to me, when people say, what's your why? What's your why? I said, let me tell you one of my whys, and it's a strong why for me. I am so sick and tired of not having the money when I need it. There's things that happen all the time. I lost a car this week. I had a bad car crash last month, so my car has been written off, and I'm still waiting for the replacement check so I can get something else. And I saw this car, and it was lovely. It was the color I wanted, cream leather interior, and I really wanted this car. And I should have really sent him a deposit and said, when my check comes in, I'll pay the balance. And I didn't. I was waiting and waiting, and I contacted him yesterday and said, look, you know, I'm going to probably come down to Bournemouth, and I want to get this Mercedes off you. And he said, it's now sold. And I was so angry. And I was angry because I didn't have the money last week to go and buy that car because I'm waiting for my insurance claim check. And I thought, that's one of the reasons I want to do On Passive, because I'm sick of going through life thinking, I want to do this for my daughters. I haven't got the money. I want to do this for my friends. I haven't got the money. We need a 3-week vacation. I haven't got the money. And I remember doing one video a long time ago when we lived out in the woods somewhere else. And I said, you know, we're all generally kind people. And if someone says to you, oh, our car's broke down. Oh, I wish I could help you. Right. You know, oh, we had a flood this week. Did you? Insurance? We had no insurance. I said, oh, I wish I could help you. Oh, I've just lost my job. Oh, I wish I could help you. Well, do you really wish you could help them? Or is it just lip service? Because if you really want to help that person, you'll spend a bit of time with them. You'll explain what On Passive is about. You're not trying to sell it to them. You just want to explain to them and express what it can do for them, because it's something that we've never seen before and we're never going to see again. And we don't want them to miss that. To miss that would be crazy. Like the guy was it in Apple that sold his shares for $800,000 because he didn't believe it was going to go anywhere. He would be worth something in the region of $6 billion now. But at the time, he didn't believe it. Susie McRae has a lovely phrase when someone says to her, it sounds too good to be true. You know what she says? She said, it is too good and it is true. And I thought, that's really good, because she's not arguing with him. She's not, you know, she doesn't need to get into a debate. She says, well, in my view, and I get pitched a lot every day by different things, and I go back and say, no, thank you, I don't need it. And they go, oh, yeah, but it's this, and I'm making all this money. I said, but it's only money. All you're trying to sell me is money. We've got in On Passive so much more than the money. It's so much more than the money, and they don't always see it. But I said, sometimes people say, I believe it when I see it. I said, no, you've got it the wrong way around. You'll see it when you believe it. Yeah. When you believe it, nobody can get me into another networking program. Nobody can get me into crypto. I don't want to do Bitcoin. I don't want to do anything else, because I said, whatever it is, you can't compare it to On Passive because it doesn't match. You know, it just doesn't match. So that's the value of what we got. It's, as Ash says, you know, the value is here. It really is. We just got to wait a little bit longer. That's okay.
No, it's okay. We'll get there. We'll definitely get there. Because, you know, there's last time someone spoke on this platform, that was Michael. I asked him, Michael, tell us now, why is it that On Passive is not yet launched till now? And his explanation was simple. Just consider On Passive as a pregnant woman bearing 50 babies, and not just one, like any normal ordinary. So it takes longer to prepare, you know, and that's it. We just want to wait because these babies are just too many, right?
Well, we had another leadership counsellor that actually put his section in the leadership council section so anyone could read it, and he had a good analogy. And he said it's a little bit like building an executive home. You know, can we move into it now? Well, yes, you can move into it now, but it hasn't got all the windows in. There's no doors fitted, and there's part of the roof is missing. Could you live in it? Yes, you could. Would you be happy? No. I'm getting wet. It's cold. It's windy. And this is a £500,000 house. Why is it like this? Because it's not finished. If you let us finish it, when you come in those electric gates, and as you drive, the sensors under the driveway, as you drive, there's lights come on all the way down, and then the house illuminates. Wouldn't that be what you want to see when you go home? It's surrounded by trees. He said the finished article is something to be proud of. Anything else is you're still using your imagination. So it's worth waiting for the house to be built, you know. And you know, it's like people say, well, you know, is it professional? I said, well, there you go again. Is it professional? Well, I remember there's two boats. One's called the Titanic and one's called the Ark. Titanic was built by professionals and it sank because they wouldn't listen. and they got rid of all their lifeboats.
Right.
And the other one was built out of wood, and people joined it 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. I said, now, what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to give you a lifeboat, but you're on the Titanic playing the violin. You're going down. Let me give you a lifeboat, and you're going to be saved. It's going to work for you.
Right. Wow. This is so scandalous. So let's discuss one great thing before I finally let you go, Paul. I've been keeping you here like forever.
That's all right.
We are now in the process of transiting, maybe moving from Go founders to O founders. Can you explain to our viewers again, what is the difference between these two, and what is O founders coming along with?
O Founders Ash wants to simplify things. So we've got the Go Founders platform. So the Go Founders platform was really a way of getting everybody together. So we can all see the same thing at the same time, so nobody gets left out. And it's a shame that a lot of people still don't go into their back office to look at these things, because all the information they want, it's like a library, it's in there, but the library ticket's free, isn't it? It's free to get a library card, and it's for us involved, it's free to go into our back office, but not everybody does. But when you go in there, the book is waiting for you. It's all there. So there's a lot of things in there. There's a lot of components in there. So as I said, now we've proved that that's worked, and we do need a back office. The O Founders is going to be a lot simpler, and we don't need as many tags in there for things like that. But there's going to be a lot more things in there. So we go into our O Founders back office, and from the O Founders we can get whatever we need to pick and watch and do and use. So it opens our store basically for us. That's what it's going to do. But it is going to be of a more simpler format at the moment. But what we've got at the moment is very, very good, very powerful. But it's going to be a simpler form of that. But it's just a way of uniting everybody. There's one place we can all go where we can all get the information. That's the main thing.
Wow, Ash is a genius indeed.
He sure is.
Yes, we can only be happy. I think whoever is part of this should just be thankful to God, because it's a blessing, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
What are you looking to get from it, Comfort? What are your plans when it launches and it's been going 6 months? Where do you see yourself, and what are you going to be doing?
Ooh, well, about my personal self. I honestly feel like there's something you said I really wanted to go back to it. I didn't. I have the opportunity now. Let our video be long. People need to watch this, right? So
okay.
Yeah, when I was actually coming to Unpassive, I just wanted to upgrade. I wanted something to do, live at home. I have 4 little children. I wanted to stay at home, make some money, and then take care of children. But the moment I discovered it, I was like, it's not even about me, because if it was about me, the moment I signed on the 19th of June, 2020, it was a done deal. But I went to work from the first day till today. I never go to sleep because my mind is all over the place. I want to help refugees. I want to help internally displaced persons. I want to help. I have lived in Europe for about 15 years now. I know what winter means, and people lying out there under the bridges. I just want to reach out to them, and But then I'm trying to learn the hard way that I need to take care of myself too. I love traveling. I think I will do that, and I will really travel a lot to just move around and see the world. Try to do some businesses to help people. And there's just a lot to
But do you realize how easy it's going to be when you do that? Because people are so used to meeting people on holiday, and one of the first things they say is, "Oh, are you on holiday? How many days have you got left?" And you're going to say, "Well, I don't know. I might go from here, go somewhere else for 5 weeks." And they go, "You're going to go somewhere else for 5 weeks?" "Yeah, I've been here for about a month, and we might move on." And that's what's going to be attracting people. And go, "Well, what do you do?" "Well, I'm a founder." "Well, what?" "Because I'm involved in this business, it pays me for being involved." So I think we're going to be a little bit like the Secret Millionaire program. Have you ever watched that? Have you seen that program, The Secret Millionaire?
No, Secret Millionaire. I think
it's called The Secret Millionaire. It could be like a woman and a daughter, or a man and his son, and they're millionaires in their current business, and they're in America and the UK. And they go off in an ordinary basic car worth about £1,500. And they'll go and stay in a little motel or hotel somewhere, travel lodge, and they'd go and find out and volunteer at different sort of small businesses, little farms, things like that. and then just go and volunteer, and they're just looking at people saying, well, how are you doing? And it could be a community centre, and they find out that that community centre is going to close in 3 months because it's underfunded, and they find these things out. So eventually they'll find 3 or 4 or 5 people that they want to help, and they'll fund those people, and they keep funding them, to help them get going. I thought, well, I can see that's what a lot of on-passive people are going to do. A lot of on-passive people are going to do that, because we'll have the money and the time to do that and to go and help people. But once we've helped them, they can become resellers.
Exactly.
And they're going to get help forevermore.
One thing about on-passive, Paul, is that we learn every day. When I discovered the part of resellers making money, it gave me a lot of relief. Because even back home, I have long-time friends. I just want to help and so on. All right, you give them those positions. There's just a lot to do, and it feels really good. So we'll have a lot to do, and we'll achieve it. Yeah. All right.
I mean, we've got a little bit of time left with where we're at some positions, and there still are some old positions people can purchase. But is it better that we give someone £100 to help them out? I mean, think about this. I can't believe there's a lot of people that haven't signed their partners up, they haven't signed their husbands, their wives, their kids, they haven't got them in. And yet, if you're a family and you've got, say, children that are maybe 22, 28, 30, how many times in their life have you've given them £100?
Right.
You've given them £200, and it's gone. Exactly. You've helped them out, and it's gone. The money's gone, isn't it? So you can keep chucking money at people, but the money goes, and they're back to where they were. It hasn't solved the problem. But if you actually made them a founder for £75, and then they become a customer, they're going to use those products anyway. But financially, it's going to really benefit them, because you've spent years giving them £100. Well, why not give them £100 now while you still can?
Exactly.
Quietly, secretly, and go and get them a phone position. I mean, it's a great gift, really terrific gift. But what can you do? You can only show it. We're in show business, and that's all we need to be doing.
Exactly. No, I really appreciate Paul. Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful time.
No, that's great.
Right. So
lovely. I hope I've been of benefit to you. I hope I've answered any questions. But I often say to people, if they want to get in touch, I haven't done it as often as I normally do, but I normally do like an update email to people. And if people want to get on that update email, but I do share different ideas and things, they can always send me an email to incomedriven@gmail.com. So if they send me an email there, I can add them to the list. Incomedriven, all one word, @gmail.com. I add them to the list, and if I can do anything to help them build their business, let me go do it, because it's Ash and his team are going to flood me with customers. So me helping get someone else, it is going to be more, more beneficial to the company. Like you were saying earlier, it's like we all want a good company, but what are we doing to help that good company? We all say, oh, I want to be in a company that does this, this, and this, and this, and our demands are huge. Well, what are we going to do to promote that company? What are we going to do to support it and back it and be loyal? Everyone's so loyal to a job, but they're not so loyal to something like this. It doesn't compute, does it? This is what we need to be loyal to.
Exactly. No, thank you so much, Paul. And can I show you any moment from now, because there are times people hear what you say, they want clarifications. I'll let you know if there's need for you to come back. I'll definitely want to.
Please, that's great. Anytime. I say afternoons are good for me. Any afternoon is good for me. But I'm just here to help. That's what we do, and there's a reason that I'm hopefully put back on the leadership council, so I do something.
Exactly.
I want to be useful.
Sure.
I think it's also important to let people know that we've all had good times, we've all had bad times, and you shouldn't let the bad times put you off. Sometimes it's you've got to start before you're ready. Some people say, well, I'm just not ready yet. I've lost all this money and I've just come out of that and I'm not ready to get going. I said, well, sometimes if you start before you're ready, you'll be glad you did, because you just alleviated all that dead time, So get ready.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Comfort.
Have a blessed day. Thanks.
All right, speak to you again.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Okay, bye.